Chapter 24, page 228. One day, Jenna doesn't come with her pills. All night I tremble, cold and hot, and cower from the fearsome creatures just beyond the fire's light. Amber crawls under the blanket and wraps her arms around me. I'm dying, I tell her. You're just coming down, she assures me. You'll feel better when the drugs get out of your body. I push her away and roll into a tight ball. Morning comes and I drag myself to my feet and stand, swaying, shocked that I am so weak. Forcing my legs to move, I step over a sleeping Amber and shuffle to the iron stairs. Already, my t-shirt is damp and stinking from the effort. The crawl through the hole in the fence nearly does me in. But after a short rest, I stumble away from the factory on a quest for the magic pills. Frost rims every branch, white lace against a cobalt blue sky. My breath puffs in clouds that hang in the air, so no wind to carry them away. My fingers burn from the cold. My gloves were in my backpack. I have no idea what day it is or how long I was in the factory. The streets are quiet. Occasionally, a person scurries past, collar clutched tight against the cold. They give me wide berth, and catching my reflection in a window, I know why. Even in this makeshift mirror, I can see the swelling around my eyes, a spreading bruise on my cheek. Granddad's cap is pulled low over my forehead. As I step away from the window, my legs give out, and I stagger and lean against a concrete wall, breathing shallowly against the intense pain of my chest. A man walks by, an iced pastry at his mouth. When did I last eat? As he passes a trash bin, he tosses the half-eaten Danish into it. There it sits, right on top. I shuffle over to the can, grab the pastry, and shove it into my mouth. As I chew, I dig through the garbage to see if there's anything else to eat. Hair rises on the back of my neck, and with a spurt of fear, I swing around. A woman stands behind me, face twisted in disgust. She's stout, obviously hasn't missed many meals, so I give her the finger and she hurries away. I continue to root in the garbage bin. I'm now a dumpster diver. Up and down the streets, I weave like a drunk, searching. I avoid the youth center, the office tower, and street school. Finally, I find what I've been looking for. One of the bandana kids, standing outside a video arcade, having a smoke. When I first approach him, he tenses, but he relaxes when he sees my unsteady steps. You don't look so hot, man, he says finally. Yeah, I mumble. Lips still swollen. It's like I'm trying to talk through someone else's mouth. I don't point out the obvious to him. He did this to me. He flicks ash away and waits. You got anything? I ask. What are you looking for? I stamp numb feet, then wish I hadn't as pain courses through my body. How can a person hurt so much? Painkillers. That might be possible. He grinds the butt beneath his boot. Meet me here, 7, tonight, he says. Do you have anything now? I ask. It's groveling, but I'm desperate. He checks up and down the street, then reaches into a back pocket and extracts a single pill. That should hold you out until tonight, he says. See you at 7. I haven't got any money, I begin. At 7, he repeats, and goes back into the arcade. I down the pill quickly, then force my brain to think. The factory is too far to walk back to, but I can't stay any longer in the cold. The closest place is the library. Somehow I get my broken body past the security guard and into a chair in the library lounge. My hand automatically reaches out to wrap the strap of my backpack around my ankle, but there's nothing there. I miss my life that was inside. The Einstein book Twitch gave me, the gloves, my dirty clothes, the CD player from Glenn, the only gift I got this Christmas. and Grandma and Grandpa's wedding picture. The pill kicks in, and I spend the afternoon staring at nothing. At 10 to 5, I ease myself from the chair and make a beeline for the washroom. As I push open the door, I stop in my tracks at the sight of a filthy man, eyes swollen half shut, face bruised yellow and purple, ridiculous hat pulled low over his forehead and ears. It takes a minute to recognize the person in the mirror as me. I study my beaten face, and a tear squeezes out of a blackened eye and runs down my cheek. Outside, my legs, stiff from sitting all afternoon, will barely move. It's colder than before, and my shivering hurts my ribs. I need those pills. As I walk past Holy Rosie Cathedral, I see Glenn coming toward me, a briefcase in his hand. I consider turning around and hurrying the other way, but immediately discard that idea. I couldn't hurry if I tried. He draws level, stops, and stares at my face. Ainsley said you looked bad, but her description didn't do you justice. It's quite a beating you took. I shrug. Dylan, I can help. No, I interrupt him. Not unless you have a pill to take the pain away. He sighs, but leaves it. Ainsley said things didn't go too well in Murdoch. I'm sorry that your grandfather is ill. I nod. Where's your backpack and sleeping bag? He suddenly asks. Stolen, I say. Dylan, you can't stay out here in this condition, Glenn says. Let me take you to a doctor, or at least to a shelter. No. I stay on my feet and Glenn reaches out a hand to steady me. Are you taking something? He asks. Painkillers. Glenn grimaces. From the street? You don't know what you're taking. It could be anything. But I don't care because anything stops the hurting. Glenn switches the briefcase to the other hand. That boy that you're sometimes with, the one who can't keep still. Twitch? Yeah, that's the one. Do you know his real name? I heard it once at Brad's. It's Aaron, but I don't know his last name. Why? Glenn looks straight at me. He took a turn for the worse today. What's a turn for the worse mean? He's dying? I can't ask. The police were around the center, Ainsley said, wanting to know if anyone knew his name. They wanted to contact his parents. I snort at that and hold my aching sides. His parents. They don't care. They won't care. Tell the cops to look at his arms. His stepfather used to use him as an ashtray. Glenn gazes up at the church's spires. Jesus Christ, he whispers. It's a prayer, I think. I hate this. I hate this. He gestures at me, at the street, the buildings surrounding us. I had a younger brother who lived on the streets. He had a terrible time in school, and at home, he couldn't get along with our parents. They fought all the time. He got into drugs in a big way and landed on the street. I put him in a rehab a couple of times, but he OD'd 5 years ago and he died. So that's why you do the school thing. Donate stuff, I say. For forgiveness? Glenn gives a tight smile. No, he says. I don't need to be forgiven. I stopped beating myself up about it last year. Sorry. He grimaces. Bad choice of words. Drugs were his decision, and nothing I could say or do could have stopped him. It took me a long time to realize that it was his choice. But after he died, I did push to get the street school open and provided supplies and equipment because I thought maybe I could help some other kid. A kid who was smart and had potential and could make it, given half a chance. A kid like you. I can help you, Dylan. Ainsley, Children's Services, they can all help you if you just let them. But ultimately, that is your decision. I can't make it for you. You're hurting now physically and emotionally, but think about what I said. Help me. Go to school? Shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't even have a change of underwear. A sliver of soap. I can't start all over again. I'm too fucking tired. I arrive at the arcade early and wait in the cold. Eventually, the bandana kids show. Here you go, he says. He holds out a small plastic bag with 4 pills. How much? Don't worry about it, man. He says, but I do worry about it. I'll pay for these pills sooner or later. Nothing is for free. But I need them. Thanks, I say, and pop one immediately. No problem. It's a party tonight. Wanna come? I don't feel like partying, but he's given me the pills and I haven't paid, so I'm somewhat obligated. Besides, my only other option is returning to the factory. He takes big strides. I have trouble keeping up with him. What's the occasion, I ask, hoping conversation will slow him down a bit. He looks at me like I'm nuts. It's New Year's Eve. We arrive at the apartment building a few blocks from downtown. Inside, the elevator rises silently. The door slides open and we go down a hall, footsteps silent on thick carpeting. Swanky, who owns this place, I ask. Bandana Kid ignores me. At the end of the hall, we hear the thump of music. The kid opens a door and a wall of music greets us. I drift into the apartment in his wake. It's crowded, hot, and stuffy. Smoke hangs thick and blue in the air and takes on fantastic shapes. I lose the bandana kid, but I don't care. The pain has receded, and a platter of crackers and cheese hovers near me. I scoop up a handful and cram them into my mouth. Someone hands me a beer, and I drink it in one big, long gulp, and there's a second one waiting. Want to play? A hand tugs at my pant leg. A red-haired girl smiles up at me. 4 people sit with her in a circle, an empty beer bottle in the center. Before each person is a tiny pile of rainbow-colored pills. It's spin the drug, she says. I join them. Take a turn. She gestures towards the beer bottle. I spin, and it lands on a little pile of yellow tablets. The girl scoops one up. You have to take it now, she says. That's the rules. She pops it into my mouth. The music gets louder. The room gets hotter. And I'm having a great time. No pain. And I discover that I'm a genius when I talk. Everything I say is witty or profound. The red-haired girl hangs on my every word. Einstein would be proud of me. I'll be back, I tell her. I wander down a hallway, looking for a washroom. Raised voices come from behind a door, then a girl crying. Suddenly, it swings open and Vulture fills the doorway. Dylan! His apartment, his party, his beer, his pills. On some level, I knew it. But in my desperation, I buried that reality away. Having a good time? Yeah. Great, I tell him. The door opens wider and Jenna, tear trails down her cheeks, peers from behind Vulture. Dylan, what are you doing here? He's joined the party, Vulture says. He wraps an arm around Jenna and pats her on the ass. Time to get to work, baby. But it's so cold out there, Brendan, she complains. And it's New Year's Eve. Can I just take a break? He gives her a small shove out the doorway into the hall. New Year's Eve means big bucks, baby. All those guys out there wanting to start the year with a bang. He laughs at his own joke. Jenna's shoulders slump in defeat. I just want to talk to Dylan for a minute, she says, with a spark of defiance. Sure. He's agreeable. He's got us both where he wants us. He pushes past me and goes down the hallway toward the party. Jenna watches his back disappear and then turns to me. You don't want anything to do with him, Dylan. Funny. My words, but they're coming out of her mouth. I have to stop there because I'm going to run out of time and I won't be able to push it up to YouTube. You have to finish off on your own the last page, 238 and a wee bit of 239.